Let's talk about how developing Web3 applications, also known as dApps or decentralized applications, is different from developing the Web2 applications we're used to building. First, we'll review what we mean by Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Then we'll compare the architecture of a Web 2 app to a Web 3 dApp. Web 1.0 was all about reading information. It was like putting a whole library online and letting people type in keywords to find whatever information they wanted. The web pages were pretty basic, but Web 1.0 was truly groundbreaking because it gave people easy access to more information than they had ever had before. Web 2.0 is all about reading information plus writing or sharing your own information. With Web 2.0, people can not only search for and find information, but they can also create things, interact with content, and connect with one another. It is a very social version of the internet. Now here is where Web 2 and Web 3 diverge. With Web 2.0, we have the power to create, but what we create is largely owned and managed by big companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter. These centralized companies fully own and manage their platforms. They each create rules about what can and cannot be on the platform, monitor activity, and collect data about its users. This gives these central companies a lot of power. Now, Web 3.0, on the other hand, is all about owning your own information. Unlike Web 1.0 and 2.0, where large companies own and manage websites, Web 3.0 is powered by the blockchain. So these online spaces and communities are completely decentralized. Now let's look at how a Web 3 dApp might be built using Ethereum by comparing it to how we're used to building Web 2 apps. In Web 2, a web application typically consists of a front end and a back end. The front end, which we access using a web browser, is built using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is how the user interacts with an application's data. The front end, of course, does not store any data. That's the back end's job. Typically, a Web 2 backend consists of a web server, which is connected to a database and hosted by a large provider such as Amazon Web Services. And lastly, to communicate between the front end and back end, our Web 2 app uses HTTP requests. Now let's compare this architecture of a Web 2 app to that of a Web 3 dApp, or decentralized application. In Web 3, we have a similar front end structure, but instead of a back end, which would possibly be hosted by a large centralized organization, our front end connects to a blockchain provider. A blockchain provider exposes an API that allows us to connect to a node on the Ethereum blockchain. Thanks to the Ethereum blockchain, data is not stored on a centralized server, but is instead stored on the Ethereum network. This new way of developing applications is changing the way we think about finance, gaming, the medical system, legal contracts, and even the way we organize companies and groups. We're still in the very early stages, but a few popular dApps that have been created include decentralized finance apps such as Aave and Uniswap, gaming apps like Axie, Affinity, where all the gaming assets are ownable NFTs, and even fully decentralized music streaming applications such as Audius. What kind of dApps are you excited to build?